Hello everyone and thanks for being here. I'm Pablo and this is a presentation of my vocabulary learning app. So, let's start. Let me introduce Giovanni. He is 33, works as a freelancer, and he is an Italian expat living in Berlin. And yes, Giovanni has something to say. He loves to discover new cultures and learn the languages. Okay, so we have a big picture of Giovanni. So only with this basic information, we could say that maybe Giovanni can have a few needs. He might need to learn several languages with the same tool and probably for free. He would need to learn vocabulary and basic grammar, both with written and audio support. And he might need to learn useful content for his real needs. Okay, let's have a deeper look at it. What does Giovanni's life look like? Oh yes, he is a young freelancer. But let's not forget his passion. He likes traveling, so even though he has not much money, most of the times, he tries to save and travel as often as he can. But he likes to be able to communicate once he arrives to his destination. So before traveling, he likes to practice and learn the basics of the language. But oh, a freelancer life! Yes, it's not easy to plan courses because he doesn't have a proper daily routine. He never knows when he's going to have the time or where he is going to be. So, knowing all this about Giovanni, we could say that Giovanni needs a way to learn new vocabulary and basic grammar of multiple languages for free and with a flexible system. Okay, there's already millions of apps in the market for learning a new language. And yes, Giovanni has already downloaded and tried several of these apps. But he always finds the same annoying problem. Yes, he ends up repeating the same words and the same sentences in a loop, words and sentences that most of the time they're so far away from him that he will never use them in the real life. Yes, that's very frustrating. Oh yes, very frustrating. So this is why I came with an idea. Why don't I create an app structured in short lessons of specific content based on Giovanni's profile and financed with advertisements? Okay, the time was here. It was time to start sketching my first wireframes. Oh yes, I was very excited. So here we can see some of the first screens. Screens clean, with the minimal design, and we can see also that during the registration process, Giovanni can introduce his detailed profile. This should make the difference of this app. We can see here also the core of the app. Learning words based on a system of flashcards. Sometimes, even during the process, I consider different versions of the same screen, as we can see here. And another basic feature of this app is that Giovanni can change and learn different languages. Here's some examples of the menu and setting screens. They should also be very clean, very minimalistic, without distractions. Okay, now my first prototype was created. But the party had just begun. It was the time for my first usability tests. And oh yes, I was freaking excited. I had 4 participants, 4 tasks, and 1 mission. Navigate successfully through my app. So, what were these tasks? Register in the app and create a profile, learn new words, create a new entry in the vocabulary, and last, change the language they want to learn. Let's get started. Okay, yes, I executed the tests and of course I found that there were many errors in my prototype. so I should make improvements to fix them. The first approach with the app, oh yes, it was problematic. When they wanted to register and create a profile, most of the participants, instead of touching in the register button, they automatically tried to fill the login areas. Basically for one reason, because it was placed first. So what I did, an easy solution, just change the order, place the register option on the first position, and also added some texts to help the process. Well, the problem that I found is that the onboarding process was not very well understood. What's the screen? Okay, this will be very easily fixed in the new versions of the prototype, because I will add the text for the tutorial, and I will also create the missing screens. That's why at this moment of the prototype it was very misleading, and many people didn't understand what was this onboarding screen about. A major error I found. Wow, the home and vocabulary screens were a bit misleading. Why? Because when the participants wanted to start learning, they didn't know where to go. And also, this new button called Create New was misleading. This Create New button was just to enter new vocabulary. But they tried to click there when they needed to start a new lesson. Oh yes, it was very misleading. Okay. So what did I do? Redesign the home and vocabulary screens. I basically added some text to clarify. So if you want to learn, you should click here. I changed the button. Instead of daily lesson, the text would say learn a new lesson. And the create new button was replaced, instead of the vocabulary menu, directly in the home screen, and also with a new text, add new entry. And I added also a couple of more options. Okay, the core of the app was also a bit problematic, the flashcard screen. The card could not be flipped back once the participants could see the answer. The plurals in the translation were not available, also there was not clear visual support, and there were usability issues due to the lack of proper onboarding. But this, as I said, when the onboarding screen is complete, I suppose that the participants will be able to navigate easier through this screen. Okay, so I redesigned the flashcard screen. For example, I just added some text in the progress bar to clarify the meaning of it. I also introduced the plural in the translations, and also some drawings to clarify what was singular and what was plural. The flip button remains after checking the answer, and I also introduced a next button. And I also introduced the possibility to enter the plural of the new entries of the vocabulary. Okay, the tests were done, some improvements had been introduced, but I was not done. No, I still have a lot of work to do. So with all these things in mind, I think I would keep on working with this minimal and clean design. Of course, I have to work on a good onboarding screen or screens. I have to create the grammar section. It's still not created. I have to increase the fidelity of the prototype. And of course, I have to keep on testing and testing and testing. Oh, what a journey! So it's time to ask, was it worth it? Yes, of course. Thanks, Homer. Okay, I would never end describing what I've learned in this whole process, but I think that I could summarize if I just say I should not make assumptions. I should basically research, and of course, test and test and test. And never think that the way is going to be very easy. The opposite is going to be very complicated, but I should always keep it simple. And most of all, never stop learning. Thanks for watching.